Hello and welcome back to another PC build. So if you're wanting to build a PC and money and space were no object, the Cooler Master HAF 700 EVO might just be the case for you. With dimensions of 666 by 291 by 626 and a weight of 24.7 kilograms, you'll better have a big strong desk because the Cooler Master HAF 700 EVO is absolutely massive. It also has an absolutely massive price tag and is currently on sale in the UK for just under £450. But for that price you're getting absolutely loads for your money, and I'm not just talking about the case's size, so let's dive in and take a closer look. To remove the tempered glass side panel, first of all we're going to need to remove the top panel. At the back of the case we've got a thumb screw we need to remove. And then with the thumb screw removed, we can slide the back panel backwards, lift it up and away. Taking a closer look at the panel that we've just removed, you'll notice we've got a layer of mesh at the top without a separate dust filter. The holes in the mesh are pretty fine, and I don't think this is going to be a big issue because I'm intending to have the case set to exhaust at the top. So with the top panel removed, we simply need to pull the side panel out from the top and then it can be lifted up and away. So just before we remove our other side panel, I want to point out the two areas of ventilation that we have. So we are going to be able to have side mounted fans, and this is the reason we've got ventilation here, and our power supply is going to go here. So this is ventilation for the power supply's intake fan. To remove this panel, it's exactly the same way. We just tilt it out from the top and then it can be lifted up from the bottom and away. Taking a look at the side panel we've just removed, you'll notice we've got magnetically attached dust filters over the area of ventilation. Taking a closer look at our front panel, we've got a mesh panel with these 6 tempered glass panels protruding from it. These are edge lit, so when we power our PC on, they are going to light up. In the middle of the PC, we've got our ASUS LCD display where we're going to be able to display our system information or put whatever pictures or videos we want on it. So I'm really looking forward to showing you this later in the build. Taking a closer look at our case's front I/O, we've got a power and reset button and a separate headphone and microphone jack. On the other side of the case, we've got 4 USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type A ports, and below that we've got a single USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type C port. To remove the front panel, there's a little lever underneath which we need to pull towards us, and then we can pull the front panel off from the front. Taking a look at the back of the front panel that we've just removed, we do have a magnetically attached dust filter which can simply be pulled away. With our front panel removed, you can see we've got two 200mm Sickle Flow PWM performance fans pre-installed at the front. Moving into the main body of the case, and as you can see we've got absolutely loads of room. As you'd expect, motherboards up to E80X are supported, and in terms of maximum CPU cooler height, it's up to 166mm. Although if you do want to put an air cooler in this case, in my opinion, you need to go and get your head examined because this case is completely designed for water cooling. So it's up to a 420mm radiator at the bottom, at the front and at the top. Alternatively, at the top you can actually fit up to 2 360mm radiators. At the side you can fit up to a 480mm radiator, and at the rear it's up to a 240mm radiator. In terms of fan support, at the rear of the case it's up to 2 120mm fans, and Cooler Master have supplied 2 Sickle Flow PWM ARGB fans. We've also got another one installed down at the bottom, and down at the bottom you can fit up to 3 120 or 3 140mm fans. So at the front of the case you've already seen we've got 2 200mm fans installed, although if you prefer you can install 3 120 or 3 140mm fans. At the top of the case you can actually fit up to 6 120mm fans, 3 140mm fans or 2 200mm fans. At the side of the case it's either 3 140mm fans or 4 120mm fans. Taking a closer look at the fan stroke radiator bracket down at the bottom of the case, we've got 2 of these removable multi-purpose brackets, and on these you can mount either 2.5 inch or 3.5 inch drives, and we've also got mounting holes for pumps and reservoirs. And I absolutely love the way Cooler Master mount their drives. So we've got these little rubber pads which again you can move the position to accommodate a 3.5 inch drive, and all you simply do is screw these little pegs into the back of your drive, line them up with the holes, and once they're lined up you just simply push them into place. And this is by far my favourite mounting mechanism for drives. And one of the things you're going to discover as we go through this case, Cooler Master have tried to make this as toolless as possible. So with these little catches on the side that we simply need to loosen up, and the bracket can be removed, and you can put these onto any of the radiator brackets in the case. So we'll go ahead and remove the other one. So just before I remove our bottom bracket, I want to show you a really cool feature that it has. So there's a thumb screw at the side that I need to remove, and then I just need to loosen these up on either side. So now our bottom bracket should be tiltable, So I can tilt the fan bracket up to the position that I want to have it in, and then to secure it into that place, all I would need to do is tighten the little screws up on either side, and this is going to give your case a really cool look. As I've mentioned, everything is toolless, so to remove the bottom bracket, all we need to do is simply push this lever out. We can simply lift the bracket up and take it out of the case. Also down the bottom of the case, we do have a removable tray-style dust filter. And we've got a removable bracket down at the bottom, which is designed to hide the cables running to the bottom of the motherboard. It's held on with a thumb screw, so we loosen up the thumb screw. We can then tilt the bracket out and lift it away. So at the front of the case, we've got an identical fan/radiator bracket to the bottom, which is absolutely brilliant because you're going to be able to keep your 200mm fans at the front and install fans and radiators behind it on this removable bracket. So this bracket is identical to the one at the bottom, so should you wish, for whatever reason, you can install your drives on the bracket and they simply clip into place. Although as you see, this is going to interfere with the airflow, so I wouldn't recommend this at all. Again, this bracket is tiltable, so if we remove the thumb screw at the top, loosen up the little clips at the top and at the bottom, we're then going to be able to tilt the bracket out to whatever position we want to have it in. And again, the bracket is removable. As I'm not going to be installing a radiator at the front, I'm going to put my radiator at the top. I'm going to remove this bracket. So simply loosen the clip at the top and the bracket can simply be removed. So I'm sure you've noticed another one of this case's really cool features. We've got an infinity mirror mounted on the side, and I'm sure once we've done the build, this is going to give us a great look at some of our components and really add something unique to the build. So the mirror is movable. I'll show you how to adjust it. So on the back of the mirror, there's two thumb screws at the top, which we need to remove. Take care when removing the thumb screws at the back, because once they're removed, the mirror will tilt forward. It's held on with two pegs at the bottom, so it can simply be pulled away. So another really cool option for this mirror would be to move it to the bottom. And to do that, we had two screw holes at the top where we had our thumb screws, and all you're going to want to do is add another two of these little pegs, the same ones we screwed into the back of the 2.5-inch drives. And then all you're going to do is line the mirror up with the rubber mounts at the bottom. And once we're happy we've got them lined up, it's just a matter of pushing it in. Flat at the bottom is probably not going to do very much, but if we open the tilting bracket up, I think this is going to give an absolutely amazing view of the fans on the underside of the GPU. So one of the reasons you might want to remove the mirror from the side of the case is to install fans on the side. And obviously it doesn't make sense to install the fans with these 2.5-inch drive brackets. So if I remove the brackets, you can see now we've got plenty of space for fans on the side. So if we take a look at the top of our side bracket, you'll notice it's actually made up of two parts, and you're going to need to use this extra removable bit at the top if you want to go with either 4 120mm fans or a 480mm radiator on the side. The only slight issue with doing this is it's going to limit your cooling support at the top. At the top you can fit two rows of 3 120mm fans or two 360mm radiators, and you can't do this with this additional bracket. So as I'm planning a 360 radiator and a set of fans at the top, I'm going to need to remove this bracket, which is held on with a thumb screw. I'm also planning on leaving the mirror at the side, so I'm going to go ahead and put it back into place. The top panel is removable, although doing so is optional. This is one of the rare occasions you're going to need to get your screwdriver out when building in this case. There's two screws at the top which we need to remove. With the two screws at the front removed, the top panel can simply be tilted up and lifted away. Again, we shouldn't have any problem fitting any graphics card in this case, with graphics cards up to 490mm being supported. And you probably weren't expecting this, but installing your graphics card is also toolless. So all we need to do is open this panel here, and then we have got full access to all the expansion slot covers, which they aren't actually screwed in, so they simply can be pulled out. And again, when you install your graphics card, all you're going to do is slot it into place, and then closing this panel is going to hold it in place. There is the option if you wish to actually screw it in, and I probably would with a big graphics card. The other option that you have in the case is to install your graphics card vertically, as the case does come with Cooler Master's Vertical Graphics Card Holder Kit version 2, which features a Gen 4 PCI-E riser cable, so you're not going to lose any of the performance, and your graphics card should look great in the vertical orientation. Moving to the rear of the case, we've got a cable cover in the middle. Again, it's held on with the same clip as the fan and radiator brackets. Once it's been loosened, it can simply be tilted out and lifted up. On the back of the cable cover, you can mount two 2.5-inch or two 3.5-inch drives. At the back of the case we've got a removable hard drive cage, and in keeping with everything in this case, its removal is toolless. So we've got a little lever at the top we need to push down, and then the tray can be swiveled round and lifted away. So taking a closer look at our hard drive cage, we've got 4 drive trays which can simply be pulled out from the front. Looking at the drive tray, we've got these little pegs on either side, so securing 3.5-inch drives is going to be completely toolless. The 2.5-inch drive sits on the middle, and you are going to have to use some screws to screw it in from the back. So in terms of total drive mounting in the case, it's up to 12 2.5-inch or 3.5-inch drives, 4 of which go in this hard drive cage, 2 on the removable cable cover, and then we've got 6 of these total brackets to mount drives on. 3 of them are at the back, 2 of them are pre-installed at the bottom in the front, and there's an additional one in the case accessory box. Our power supply is going to go down at the bottom, and again I'm going to surprise you because installation is toolless. So all we need to do is slide our power supply in at the bottom, and then at the back of the case we've got these 2 thumb screws which we simply need to tighten up to secure our power supply into place. Up at the top of the case we've got a PWM/ARGB hub, and we've got 7 PWM connectors and 5 3-pin 5V ARGB connectors. The top ARGB hub connects into this ARGB controller, which has 3 5-pin ARGB connectors, and then this connects to our motherboard via USB. So we're going to be able to use Cooler Master's Master Plus software to control everything in the case. As you'd expect in a case of this price point, we've got rubber grommets over the cutouts through to the main body of the case. Cable radiant space looks to be really good at between 90 and 101 millimeters, and we've got these nice cable clips for helping secure all our cables, and again, as you'd expect, they're toolless. So that's all the case features. It's now time to build. So I think you'll agree the build looks absolutely stunning. The next thing I want to do is show you how to set up the front panel, both this display and the ARGB lighting. So over to the left hand side we've got all our Cooler Master devices. I'm using a Cooler Master mouse. We've got our case, the case's ARGB controller, and also our power supply, and we're going to be able to control all these using the Master Plus software. So let's start off with our case. And in this tab we're going to be able to control the iris screen in the middle, which is currently showing the Cooler Master logo. If your logo isn't round the right way, you're able to rotate it round, so that's 90 degrees, 180 and 270, Ours was right at the start, so I'm going to leave it at 0. And then again, we can choose what it does when we power off. At the moment, I've got the screen to auto off, but we can have sleep mode or always on. So at the moment, as I said, we're set to the Cooler Master logo. It's on a dynamic and using a multicolored display. If you want, you can have it static, and you can also change the color as well. So for example, if I want to go for a white, I can do that, click apply, and then you'll notice the logo color has changed to white. The next thing we can do is display some system information. So at the moment, it's displaying our GPU temperature. There's a whole range of different options that we have here that we can display. For example, if I go over to the system usage, we'll click on CPU. So it's currently displaying our current CPU usage. We can display our GPU usage, and I can change it over again. There's the RAM usage. So we'll click apply, and at the moment it's got our RAM usage up on the screen. You've got a whole range of options from CPU temperature, GPU clock speed, CPU clock, and you can display fan information and a whole variety of other options. Again, you can also change how your system settings are displayed. You've got additional options in here, whether you want to display a fixed speed or a range. Next option is you can display the time. And again, you've got a choice of adjusting the text color and the background color. We've got multimedia, and you're going to be able to either display a video or a picture. And again, here you can see the maximum picture size and the maximum video size. So I'm going to go ahead and upload my image. I've moved it over into the pictures, click on the logo, click open. We're going to size it. I'm happy with that. I'm going to click apply. And then you'll notice my image has now appeared on the front of the screen. We've also got a multi-display, so you can click on here and add which of these options you want, and then it's going to rotate through all the different displays. And then again, you can change the rotation speed. At the moment it's set to 5 seconds, but you can have it up to 30 seconds. The other option, if you want, is to turn the display off. To control the RGB lighting, we're going to need to go into our ARGB controller. So at the moment, it is currently set to rainbow. I would like it to go to a static white, so I can click on static, and then to select white, click over here. And then you'll notice the lighting on the front of the case has turned to white, which matches the rest of the theme. So at this stage, I would normally share the temperatures with you, but I had some difficulty in AIDA64 in that it wouldn't actually pick up the CPU temperature. It wasn't isolated to AIDA64. In fact, I tried a number of different hardware monitoring, including the Master Plus software, and it would just not give a CPU temperature or clock speed. So this really interfered with the thermal testing. The information that I can give you is that our GPU reached a maximum of 68 degrees during a 10-minute AIDA64 stability test, and the noise level measured 30 centimeters away from the closed tempered glass panel during the stress test was 46 decibels, which is pretty good, particularly for a case with this amount of fans in it. So now I want to share my thoughts on the HAF 700 EVO, and all I can say is, wow, this is by far the best case that I have built in. If you watched the start of the video where I showed all the case's features, you'll understand why. No expense was spared in the making of this case, and I know it's not a cheap case, but I think you do get what you pay for in this case. And while I think the build that I have put together looks absolutely stunning, I have absolutely not done this case justice. Really what you should be doing in this case is a full custom loop, and I think this might be a project for another day. So in particular, I absolutely love the front panel. It looks absolutely stunning, and the iris display is such a smart idea. It's great to have your system information on the front of the case. I love the fact that you can get 2 rows of fans at the top of the case, and the side lighting on the Lian SL120 Unifans looks amazing. And I love the fact that the front set of fans hides the back radiator. And the fact that you can tilt the fan brackets and you've got an infinity mirror in the case makes this case stand out from everything else on the market. So I absolutely love the HAF 700 EVO, and I think the biggest compliment that I can give this case is that I'm planning to move my personal system into it. So you're going to be seeing more of this case on the channel. It's going to be sitting on the desk behind me in a lot of my videos, but I think you'll also see it in another video because I'm planning to do a full custom loop in this case at some point in the future. So I'm looking forward to that, and hopefully you will as well. So a big thank you to Cooler Master for sending the case out. And if you have enjoyed the video, please remember to give it a thumbs up. And if you're not currently subscribed to the channel, please hit the subscribe button as well. Thanks for watching.